Secret tunnel.
And we're back after going to a weird part of the level and not.
Well, he's dead now. Yeah, well, it's good to know that not even enemies are safe from the murder wheel.
Oh, so get this. There's a Vietnamese restaurant that's near my current place. That in some of their rice dishes will serve an entire partridge.
Huh.
Or no, an entire quail.
Have you tried it yet?
I have. Quail turns out to not be so great.
Ah.
Or at least the way they make quail.
Here we go.
One
Secrets.
of the two. Either quail is bad or they're bad at quail.
The world may never know.
I do know that quail eggs are stupid expensive and very tiny.
It's probably because they're tiny that they're stupid expensive. For whatever reason, people pay a lot of money for stupid things.
Just like bikinis. The smaller they are, the more they cost.
Yep. You pay more money for less fabric. What a scam. I mean, guys like it better when you have none of it. Fucking idiots, am I right?
That is in fact true. I mean, you could save money by just wearing some dental floss.
Yeah. I mean, it's getting there.
Yeah, it's getting closer year by year. Just like The Simpsons predicted, Fox News is slowly turning into hardcore porn.
And we never even noticed.
I know.
We have 52 lives.
Holy balls.
We have more lives than the Liechtenstein army.
I don't even... Liechtenstein's like a tiny European territory, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a city-state, I think.
Oh my god.
I can't remember where, but there's still a functioning city-state somewhere in Europe.
The Vatican.
Well, there's more than one then. But there's one of them where, like, you could become mayor for a day as a gimmick.
Oh
And that's a
my
tourist
God.
thing. Because it's like, you could be mayor of this whole country of, like, 12 people.
Neat. Mayor of the country.
Yep.
Just like that cat in Alaska.
Or that dog that they keep electing because it's the best politician they've ever had.
Well, I mean, when you have that few people, you don't really need laws, because whenever there's, like, a crime or something, the jury can consist of everyone.
Oh god. So there's an island where that's exactly the problem. And it's an old British territory, and I want to tell this story because it's fucking great.
Go for it.
But, so it's a British territory, specifically because a bunch of sailors back in the 1800s got pissed off and mutinied.
Oh, the bounty.
No. Well, maybe. They mutinied, and, so they had to... So, they kicked out the captain, and they went to this tiny, shitty island, where, in the tiny, shitty island, they just kind of, made it. Well, eventually that captain they mutinied against actually got back to England,
Yep.
rounded up a whole new ship, and went to the island.
Yeah.
Now, in the time it took him to get to that island, the mutinied crew had all pretty much killed each other,
Yeah,
and all that was left was their descendants, who by British law at the time couldn't be punished. Also, this song is also from Kirby.
I'm
The
pretty
Great
sure
Maze
this
Escape.
is the bounty.
It might have been. But anyway, so now this island still exists, and it's got a consistent population of somewhere in the area of like 24.
I'd like to point out that you need a population of about 500 in order to maintain appropriate genetic diversity.
Yeah, this town does not have that.
There are also some towns in Newfoundland that don't have that.
But the funnier part is that, so 7 of the island's residents, like enough that at least one of them was directly related to every other island resident, were found guilty of child pornography and
Oh
had to
my
be
God.
jailed because the island's a British territory because it was technically founded by British sailors, mutinied or otherwise. So, by British law, they had to jail these men. But the island was so small they didn't have a jail before this. So,
And they also can't have an appropriate jury.
yeah, they had to ship in a jury, but that's a different and other, also still funny story. But
Yeah, go fire, dude.
go in that door, I'll join you in a second. So they had to ship in a jury. They were found guilty and had to go to this prison, which they had to build for those 7 guys.
Why can't they just ship them to British prison?
I don't know. Seems funnier this way, I suppose.
Also, who's gonna man the prison? Everyone else on the island?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, like, the funniest part was, like, when I was hearing about this, It was on a podcast, and one of them was joking, you know what? Like, it was probably like a big coming together community project to build the prison to house their cousins. Well, it gets funnier, because the judge who convicted them was himself later found guilty of child pornography. Oh, right, now I remember. The island's population was 50. That was it.
They're all pedophiles, all 50 of them.
And the guys who were running the...
pedophiles and the children getting pedophiled.
Yeah, so the guys who were telling the story of the podcast, what was great about it was they were saying that, like, okay, look, you know that, so one of the guys, Kaya... The only subject he's ever, like, passionate about is punishing, so franking any pedophiles.
Okay.
Because he's like, pedophiles are the only population on Earth who deserve to be vigilanted. And so his entire thing was he's like, okay, look, the island's population is 50. We have a consistent viewer base of about 10,000. I'm sure we can get like 98 volunteers to help us take over this island because there's only 50 of them, and then ship them off to sea like they did their original captain. Because, I mean, it's like, who's gonna stop us? The island's full of pedophiles. And many of them old. Because there's like, I think it was like 10% of the island's population is below the age of 40.
Oh my god. So, I wound up doing some research on the topic of pedophilia a little while ago. The lowball estimate is that 1 in every 200 people is a pedophile.
Okay. That's discouraging.
I know.
That's a number you want to be lower.
The highest estimate, I believe, was somewhere in the neighborhood of 1 in 50. It's just that most pedophiles don't act on their pedophilia.
Well, that's good, I suppose.
Yeah. So, one thing that they're trying to get in is that pedophiles should be able to go to basically a mental asylum and get treated for their pedophilia without ever having their name published, assuming they haven't done anything yet.
I guess that's fair. If they're willing to submit to being fixed, that's good.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that's a decent enough plan.
I mean, I suppose if it would stop pedophilia, yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Like, I think their names should be on, like, a secret list that's kept specifically by the hospital, not in a big centralized location, but by the hospital.
Yeah.
That way, if something does happen, the hospitals can come forward and be like, yeah, we tried, he's not fixable. Straight to prison.
Yep.
As opposed to, I mean, like, we do that with murderers, too. If people have murderous impulses that they have problems with, they're allowed to just go to a mental institution and get treated.
Yeah, I want to stab my neighbor. Alright, in you go.
Yeah, except in the States, where unless you've actually done something, you have to pay for it. Yeah. You have to pay to not be a pedophile.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I always say is, like, the major difference between the US and Canada about why Canada doesn't have, like, all these shooting problems, despite the fact that we have far more guns than anyone realizes.
Yeah, per capita, we have more guns than some US states.
Yep. But we have free mental health care.
Also, it's a cultural thing, too. We're far more apologetic and less likely to go to violence.
Yeah.
In fact, you are more likely in the States to be shot by a cop than you are to be shot, period, in Canada.
Yeah, that sounds about right, unfortunately.
The police murder rate in the U.S. is higher than the total murder rate in Canada.
Well, I mean, like, look what happened in Toronto recently where that dude went nuts and ran all those people over. The cops successfully talked him down. Which is, like, that wouldn't have happened in the States. They would have shot him and been done with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, new one.
Fuck, the incel revolution is happening.
Oh god, I lost my shit when I saw that. I could not believe that that's what was happening. And I'm like, yep, it's finally happened. The cringe factor is too real.
The worst thing is that whenever someone's like, oh man, we have to do something about these incels are terrible, all that does is reinforce to the incels that they are in fact terrible, and therefore incels.
I was gonna say, the problem is there's no winning move. It's either like, I mean, if you voluntarily call yourself an incel, that's the problem right there.
But yeah, like, everyone who's saying, like, oh, these incels are awful, we should just get rid of the incels, all that's doing is confirming everything they already believe.
Yeah.
That people hate them because they're just inferior to everyone else.
You're pretty much making it worse.
Yeah, which is kind of sad, actually. Like, despite what, like, your first reaction might be, the best way to treat these assholes might be to legalize prostitution.
Well, yeah.
And, like, I know there's the joke about state-sponsored GFs for incels, and that's kind of what some of them are hoping for. But, like, legitimately, the best thing for them might be therapy.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, in the States, you're not allowed.
Or prostitutes.
Yeah. I mean, that would solve the problem, I imagine.
Unless they're too poor to afford prostitutes.
Well, look, Cameron, we can only do so much.
Yeah.
Alright? We're not going to go communist just to treat the incel problem.
No, I'm not. That's not what I'm saying.
We don't need state-sponsored anti-incels.
What I'm saying is that perhaps there should be a government fund to get people laid if they can't do it themselves by a specific age.
Yeah, maybe.
Just so that they don't have weird, like, psycho-fetishistic bullshit going through them.
Well, what if that's the reason they can't get laid, is the weird psycho-fetish bullshit?
Well, then that's the sort of chicken-egg thing, I suppose, so maybe I'm an idiot.
Yeah. I'm just saying, every now and again, you see all those people, they read the 50 Shades of Grey and they're like, oh boy, I'm into the sadism, and then they're like, no, I'm not. Oh man. I will say this much. You learn shit about, like, all you gotta do is you gotta get them out on the certain days. I went out on St. Patrick's Day and I learned things about myself.
What did you learn?
I'm cougar bait.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that wasn't fun.
Okay, so I am totally going to name a name here, live on stream. But there is a teacher who taught at our school named Miss Hewick.
Oh,
who was caught at a Cougar bar that I believe is called Liquid Kitty.
Oh.
But, like, A, she is a raging bitch, and the fact that she ever gets laid at all is a surprise. And B, we had a Cougar teaching us at high school. Right. Also, I'm not going to name this name, but I am 90%...
I was supposed to grab that.
Oh. DDD challenges you, Meta Knight. Yeah! But I am 90% sure...
Oh, right, he can reflect projectiles. I forgot about that.
Good thing I'm behind him. But I am 90% sure that one of my high school teachers was attempting to flirt with me.
Yeah, I think you've said this a few times.
Yeah. In her defense, I was 18 at the time, and...
I mean, as long as you're not in the class with her, I guess that's fine.
No, I had a class with her.
Oh, that's not as fine.
That's not as fine, no. But, that being said, she was actually kind of hot, and were I 100% certain, I definitely would have gone through with it. It's just, I figured that if I was wrong,
that would be awkward.
I would get in so much trouble, and it was my final year, and I didn't want to get expelled. So I didn't feel like risking it.
No, you don't understand. She was coming on to me.
Right? Like, there is nothing I could say or do if I were wrong about that. Aside from just say that I was, like, pretty sure that she was coming on to me and just hope that they believed me.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like there's very few things you can actually say that doesn't make you sound like a bit of a tool. Like a bit, at least like a little bit of a tosser.
Oh, man!
Hold on, wait. You want an upgrade again?
Yeah! No. No, I want to be big fat. But,
Yeah, Meta Knight, my favorite character.
Did you hear about that email that went out to the University of South Oregon?
No.
Okay. So, the University of South Oregon... Oh, shit. I will tell this story next time.
Yeah, we'll see you after this cutscene. Actually, we'll see you later, folks. Right now, cutting it.
Bye, everybody.